So there are a few sections to this. The whole issue around paying VAT when you're buying stickers for petitioning, right? To promote the petition, and small ones. I'm going to start with the theory, and then I've got a little bit of practical as well. I'm going to start here with the Cambridge Dictionary, right? And the word body. This is the Cambridge Dictionary and the word body. The whole physical structure that forms a person or animal. A good diet with plenty of exercise will help you keep fit. So this is the first and main meaning of the word in the dictionary. Then we move on to another meaning for the word body, which is a group of people who have joined together for a particular reason. Doesn't say what reason though. So any particular reason. These are some examples: a governing body, a student body, and then underneath that we've got the committee serves as an advisory body to the organisation. So those are just examples, but all it means is people who have come together, basically. And that there are no other, when you use the word body, on merit of the word itself, without using any surrounding context, before you add any surrounding context of it in a sentence, this is what it means: a group of people who have come together for any reason. For example, RSPCA is a respected body working in animal welfare. This is a good example here now. I think for some reason, whenever I look into this, it always seems that people seem to put ironic hints into it, and not random ironic hints, very specific ironic hints. This is on the Cambridge Dictionary of all England, under the word body, right? There is a large body of people who are unaware of their basic rights. That's an example of the use of the word body. If people do something in a body, they do it together as a group in an official way. So it doesn't mean doesn't say which official way, but it says somehow it's made official. Well, you make it official when you make a statement or declaration or oath or affirmation, or just say that you're going to do it. Basically, not in a way where you're not telling people what you're doing, or like the gunpowder plot was a body of people, but they definitely weren't doing it in an official way. They were doing it in a secretive way, which is trying to not let people know about it. That's a secretive way. Now, why I want to give the example of the word body is this. This is the Value Added Tax Act. I think it's 1994. Yeah, right. Now, there is a section in this act for zero-rated items. Items may qualify for being exempted from paying VAT on the merit of them qualifying for zero rating. That means that then the tax rate, they're taxed but at a zero rate, 0%. And there's a whole government page on that, and it defines certain items. And some of these items are things like small advertisements, handbills, public addresses, things like that. They're all listed, right? And some of the items that are not zero rated are stickers. Also stationery. But as I will go into later, items can be converted, or items can be changed in classification due to modifications to them in the manufacturing process or by other law as well. Now, this is the thing, right? This section of the Act is not the section on zero-rated items. It's actually not the section on V.A.T. exemption through zero rating. It's actually through another section of the Act, which is Group 9. There is a special Group 9 exemption which is separate from zero rating. So these are subscriptions to trade unions, professional and other public interest bodies. Here is the word bodies. So that's groups of people who have come together for any given particular reason, as long as it's official, which means you're not trying to keep it secret. Never says that it has to be recorded, never says that it has to be filed with anyone or government. It just means that you are not keeping it secret. And I can guarantee you, if you're petitioning the government, you want them to know about it. And if you're attempting to get as many people as possible to support it, it's impossible to keep it a secret. So it is by nature a merit of the nature of what you're attempting to do, which is get the public to support it. It's impossible not for you to be doing it officially. Now, you'll notice there is a word here, political, in orange. The word political there is highlighted in orange. Now, through this entire act of law, the whole act, all of it, the entire V.A.T. Act 1994, which is the legislation for V.A.T., the word political appears in this act only twice. The first instance of the word political appearing is under electronical communications and communications from overseas, to do with if you're receiving electronic services from overseas, you don't pay tax on those services. However, they manifest in this country through the computer. It can be audio, visual, written, or any. And the second appearance of the word political throughout this entire act, it doesn't actually appear in the section under zero rated items, the word political. It appears in this Group 9, right? But let's not forget that the zero rated items and the ones that are exempt from VAT, like handbills, small adverts and so forth, they, once zero rated, those items, when they're being manufactured, are permanently zero rated on the shelves, ready to buy or have made, no matter who you are who walks in there. Anyone or any person can walk in there and buy small adverts and have them made. You can be a grandma, you can be a 6-year-old kid, you can be a big corporate entity, you can be anyone or anything. No one pays tax on them. And you don't have to show any ID to buy it. You don't have to own a company. You can be a gardener with a business, or you can be a charity, or you can be doing something political, or you can be a huge Coca-Cola company with registered VAT. When you order those small adverts, you don't pay tax on them. Nobody does, and you don't have to prove who you are, right? Now, these bodies, right? This is important now. It says that this is when you're giving them away for free, or if you've got a membership. Like, for example, I'm a member of the Monster Raven Looney Party for 1 year. I joined for 12 months. I paid a subscription to join the Monster Raven Looney Party, right? I got a rosette, a pin, some plastic cards, actually plastic coated and made out of plastic. I can actually get them out. I've got the rosette as well. I'll just tell you, it's just on the left-hand side of me now, fastened by the wall. It's Monster Raving Looney Party Rosette. And I paid a subscription for that. They didn't give it me for free, and I didn't buy it off them. I joined the party, but they could give it away for free. For my political campaign, I have been giving pretty much nearly everything away for free. I haven't actually really charged anyone any money for it. The majority of things I've given away to promote it, right? The supply to its members of a body, at no point yet does it say that anyone has to be recorded or registered with government. It says professional and other public interests or bodies. To supply to its members of such services and in connection with those services. So how do you join a petition? By signing it. Once you've signed the petition, you've become part of a body of people because you have joined them in that matter, right? Of goods. It says goods, and it does not even say whether they are handbills, addresses, anything. So that's including rosettes and badges as well. Goods, as are both referable only to its aims, right? To the aims and goals of that, of the interests, and available without payment. Well, mine are available without payment because I've been giving them away. Other than a membership subscription. So you're allowed to offer a membership subscription by any of the following non-profit making organisations. Well, so it's also acknowledging that all of these organisations are going to be non-profit making. But non-profit making doesn't mean that it can't raise money or even sell things as long as the money is being only used for those aims and for those exercise, for those activities. Because you raise money through the subscription and you raise money, well, you give things away and get more people, you're giving things away so more people can be aware of it and more people can subscribe to it by signing. Subscription. Subscription means to scribe. Subscribe. Scribe means write. A scribe writes to join the body by in writing, or you can verbally join it and agree verbally. So all these are non-profit anyway. So none of them are going to be a business. If these are all non-profit, then they won't be registered as businesses and they won't have a business registration. Also, really, some democratic organisations, even though it's a democratic organisation, some are still registered as companies. But only if it's over, if the body, this is the thing, certain bodies, only if they are doing activities over a certain amount per year, have to register for tax. If they're not doing over a certain volume of activities a year or giving away or raising so much money, they don't have to be a register as a party. They're still a body under this law. Where does it say that you have to register to be a body? A body is just a group of people who have come together officially. It's official when you set it in writing, mainly on the handbills. So they've got trade unions, have its main object, the negotiation on behalf of its members, professional association membership, association of primary purpose, which is advancement of a particular branch of knowledge or fostering professional expertise. So that's like in education and professors and so forth. So we've got C here. D is an association, the primary purpose of which is to make representations to the government on legislation and other public matters which affect the business or professional interests of its members. So, well, you're doing that when you petition as well. You're trying to affect the government or the legislation. But mainly lobbying is done by corporate entities mainly, or people who've got a lot of money to lay bills to Parliament. They're all V.A.T registered, but they're not members of the public. A body which has objects which are in the public domain and are of a political, religious, patriotic, philosophical, philanthropic, that's charitable, or civic nature. Right, so a body, to start with, a body is a group of people who have come together for a petition cause. So that body can have objects which are in the public domain and are of a political, religious, patriotic, philosophical, philanthropic, civic nature. Well, when you are trying to get people to sign petitions and trying to promote them and spread awareness of them, right, they're in the public domain. Like handbills, when you hand them out, you hand out handbills. But you can't stand there all day, or you might not have lots of people who want to help you hand it out, but they'll subscribe and they'll sign. Now, you can attach it and fix it somewhere. That's in the public domain. It has objects which are in the public domain, which are political in nature, a body. So a group of people who have come together for a political cause and put objects in the public domain. Now, at the start here, all of these under the first item, that is C. Now, item number 1C, under the opening part, it says to supply to its members, that's of the religious body, such services and in connection with those services of such goods. Goods. That is a lot more than just a badge or a... I've got a Monster Raven Looney Party sent me a plastic license, like a plastic kind of like, well, it's kind of like a membership card, but it's plastic coated. I've got a rosette. A rosette is an object. It's goods. It's not. It's actually got a sticker on the back of it. The rosette. The rosette's actually got on the back of it, it's got a sticker, so you can peel it off and stick it on things. And it's also got a drawing pin on the back, I think, as well as a sticker, right? In fact, for the second part of the video, the practical part, I will get those things out and I will put them here just to examine them in respect of this section here, because this law actually covers all of it. This law covers all of it, right? We'll look at some of the other definitions anyway that I've just been looking up. So for sticker, it says an adhesive, label or notice. So you can have a notice. This is the Oxford Dictionary. And also informal, a determined or persistent person. Well, you're going to be determined and persistent if you're eligible not to pay tax and you really want to pay it. Another irony here, although this dictionary is quite old, Oxford Dictionary, it's not that old though, it's probably about year 2000 or something, which isn't that long ago. Sticker, an adhesive label or notice, right? Notice, giving notice. It doesn't say art. They don't even word in the Oxford Dictionary, in the dictionary of Oxford University, which is what you use in court to define when you're even saying something, doesn't even say artwork for sticker. It's actually label or notice, and a notice for certain, we know what a notice means. Here to stick, there's a very, very large section on to stick, and they even include to poke or prod. But I won't go into that because I'm not disputing what the word stick means, because that's a doing word. So for handbill, right, we've got here, right, a handbill. So this is, the word handbill is included in the zero printed matter government page on the manufacture of items. Handbill's included in there, but so is small advert. Now the thing is, the description for handbill is near identical to small advert. So why would you use the word handbill in the zero printed matter when there is actually not that many things listed there? And also, when the definitions are quite vague. So what I want to know is, why would you list handbill and small advert when handbill is near identical to small advert? Because it seems pointless. That's why I think handbill basically means something probably around the size of A5 or smaller, usually, right? And it's to give notice of something and hand it around. But remember, let's not forget that in those Section 9 terms, Group 9 terms, we just thought it's, as long as it's something that is going to be in the public domain, like all things in the public domain are not only passed around by a hand, but they're placed up, put up, so people can see them, right? Now, the thing is that I think that when it says a small advert, I think that it means an advert that is not like absolutely huge, like an actual billboard, or something like but essentially, I'm quite certain now that when it says a small advert, it actually kind of means an advert that might be like a picture frame size. Like a painting, a picture frame or painting, that's a small advert compared to a billboard. Anything that is around the size even of a human, like a wall mirror that is, a head-sized wall mirror. All those items are really quite small adverts compared to a billboard. That's a large advert. A large advertisement is a billboard. A small advertisement, in contrast to a billboard, would be anything ranging around picture frame size, going up to possibly even like a door frame size compared to a billboard. A handbill, you hold it in your hand, one hand. A picture frame, if you're starting to get a bit bigger, you might need to use two hands to hold it. Or if it's a mirror, you can't pick a mirror up usually with one hand unless it's quite light. So it would, in the zero printed matter section, it's near pointless to list handbill and small advertisement because the descriptions are so similar. But let's go on the handbill word. A small printed advertisement. So in the zero matter, why would it have one entry for small advertisement and then another entry for handbill when they both mean the same? A small printed advertisement or other notice or other notice distributed by hand. So a small printed advertisement or other notice distributed by hand. Well, this is the thing. You give them out to people because you can what? Why would it be distributed by hand? Is because you can hold them on your person and hand them out. If it wasn't that small, you usually wouldn't be able to distribute them by hand. Now, for the entry in zero printed matter, which says small advertisement, well, you might not be able to distribute small advertisements out by hand if they're all picture frame size, because you can't carry them all around with you. There might be too many, unless they were exceptionally light, like those fiberplastic boards or something that you have for political parties, right? Or even posters, unless they're all rolled up. Like, you know, I guess you could have like A0 printed posters, but once you start getting probably about 10 or 20 of them, then they won't roll up very well. So you can't distribute them by hand. You can distribute some of them by hand, but not a great as many deal as you can with handbills. So that's size. Hold on. I'm going to go to this government. This is the government page, but this is not for this is for this is for the manufacture of these items. See, look, it's even got a section on your rights and obligations here. They're always hinting at the right and the word bill, a bill, the bill of rights and your rights the whole way through. But people don't think these people have a sense of humour or irony. I've said why they don't write things too obvious, and that is because they don't really want people to use political rights and win, particularly against major parties. Right, so here we've got some items, right? They're even going for tests here. Standard rated for the package test. Always got to test it. This is to do with when they're being put on envelopes, right? Because the sticker on the package will usually be something like fragile or this way up or something like that. So therefore it's not an advertisement. Right. This is the actual list of items. We've got advertising leaflets here. So advertising leaflets, why not say handbill? Because an advertising leaflet is a small advertisement, right? An advertising leaflet is a small advertisement. And there aren't that many things in this list here, so why say it multiple times when it means the same thing? Advertising leaflet, zero rated, that's a small advertisement, right? Now here, it says that badges standard rate, but this is under the zero rating method of taxing them. We've got that other group 9, which is completely exempt, but not through zero rating method, just through the fact that it's exempt. And in that, we've got goods which are used of a body or group which has come together and subscribed, signed up for political matters which has objects in the public domain. And badges are one of those items, because I've got one here for Monster Raven Looney Party, right? And they're exempt from tax. So they are exempt, but through another section of the Act, through a separate section. But you can still have badges. I really don't know what's going on here with this ballot papers, right? again, this is, you see, a ballot paper is actually when you've achieved an election or a referendum and it's being run through a certain method, and we never pay for those. They're always paid for out of the taxpayers' money, and it gets claimed back afterwards. So it's kind of misleading, because only the government really has proper voting ballots. Jim Harrer really needs to look at this, because it says elections ought to be free. And that's another statute law Bill of Rights. It says elections have to be free. So that's actually, that standard rating for ballot papers, that's actually illegal. But yet, you don't even need to use this section. Through the other section, through those Group 9 items, you can have ballot papers being used for political purpose. So it wouldn't even be in this standard rating album. You see, I think that is a distraction, because what I think that the government, this is my opinion, right, on that item there. On that item, I believe that the government know that if you could cheaply get hold of a lot of ballot papers, you could go around and start getting some serious political things done, right? And if it didn't cost you that much money, if you were saving lots of money on them, then you'd have better capacity to do it. And they don't want you to do that. So they've lied on here, and they've miscategorized it on purpose, which is criminal. And I would say that is why would they do that? Well, there are 400,000 signatures on the petition for 20 mile an hour in Wales at the moment, and it's eligible for a referendum. But the Drakeford, the Welsh Prime Minister, First Minister, is dithering about, and he's trying to ignore it. And I've submitted a request that, I've said that the petition should be amalgamated and there needs to be a Welsh referendum, and the Secretary of State for Transport is meant to authorise it, and they are beating around the bush, basically. I've had to complain about the whole petitions committee and how it's being run. So I would take Jim Harrer to court on this, and I would prosecute him. I would prosecute him for subverting the liberties of the realm under the Bill of Rights. Ministers and government officials, elections have to be free under that legislation, and they're actually charging V.A.T on ballot papers here. Unless they're ballot papers that aren't for government purposes, for some company that's having a ballot. But then again, this is why I think they're being misleading. I don't know what bills of lading. I don't know what that is. Bills of antiquity. Bills of antiquity, standard rate. Bills of antiquity, 0 rated. Oh, look. They've got bills of antiquity, blank, standard rated, and bills of antiquity, completed, 0 rated. This has just appeared. This wasn't there before, I'm sure. Well, actually, I've actually got it printed out, actually. Maybe it was. I've got it printed out somewhere from last week, so I'll check it. Bills of antiquity, blank, standard rate. Bills of antiquity, completed, 0 rated. Well, this is the thing. What I was going to say is, what happens if you had a notepad of blank so what they're trying to say is, they're trying to say that the blank paper, the stationery, even if it said these are charity sheets on the top of it, they're trying to make out that it's standard rate. But when they're all filled in and completed, then then they've been zero rated. Which I can't believe that, because if it's got a purpose for something, you have to have product access to it to get to it for that purpose and reason. I would say completed is written out, but actually, this is exactly what the practical part of this video that I want to make. That's what I was going to base it on. I was going to base it on this argument here between build up blank and completed. I'll show you how I mean that in a second. Booklets are zero rated. Why would booklets be zero rated? Because they're a small book. Brochures also. So educational items, philosophical and educational items of learning are not meant to be taxable, which is like knowledge, basically. Comic books are zero rated. Now, a comic book is full of artwork and usually humour and jokes. You couldn't not normally say it's educational. So these election addresses, the thing with election addresses, right? If we're talking about a notice to the public that there's going to be an election that is delivered to many people, that's a small advertisement and it's zero rated anyway, regardless of whether it's about an election. So what would be the point? If it is a collection of people's addresses, actually like a list of persons at their homes, then that is basically you're getting onto the same as ballot papers, which is ridiculous. But then again, the election addresses have actually got people's details on them, or at least it's an address over a particular issue or a particular matter. But I'll get into that in a minute. So this is the thing, handbills, right? So handbills are zero rated. Well, the thing is with the handbill, right? It is a small advertisement. And notice, and it is going to be in the public realm. Now, can you stick or attach it somewhere? Well, according to those Group 9 items, it's any goods at all which are used for political purposes and are going to be in the public domain. So you would want to stick them and put them places. Now the thing I've actually got an excerpt from the 1800s dictionary in a minute. Hymn books are religious and zero rated. Journals, leaflets, magazines are zero rated. Maps, music, newspapers. Even though I've had adverts in the newspaper and for some reason they're charging me and I don't know why, because it's just paying for it being printed. Orders of service, zero rated. Painting books for children, even not completed, even though they're not completed because it's educational. How can you have children's painting books that are not completed, right? And then you can have bills of antiquity. I think that's got to be a joke. So the posters and poster magazines, this is an example of how this is an example of how really it's not even that serious or strict when it comes to classifying things that are borderline or close or similar. Because they're standard rating posters, even though art's meant to be exempt, which I don't know why the hell they're doing that. But then poster magazines are 0 rated because they're less of a poster than they are of a magazine, which is all on percentage. Printed pictures are standard rate. I don't know why that is, because they're not educational or what. But art, how can artwork, people's art, how can art be 0 rated but not printed pictures? The ink costs a fortune anyway. Printed pictures. So, like, if you're printing pictures onto a sticker, then it's reckoning that it's standard rated. That's so that's like copies of artwork. But then it says that when you're photocopying books and things like that it's not. So this is one of the important things here. Stationery. So this is an item that I want to highlight, because we've got these post-it notes that are classed as stationery. They're not rated because they're not completed, they're not filled in. Stationery is usually blank, so you can't say it has a purpose. It's not advertising anything because it's blank, and it's not a bill or an address to the public or anything because it's blank. It doesn't have anything on it, and that's the reason why it's not 0 rated. Magazines are already made, they've got information in them basically, and if that information is educational, or the books, the Bibles have got information, stationery is usually blanks, right? Because it hasn't got anything on it. And I say that is stickers as well, right? Stickers, they're not standard rate merely because they've got adhesive on the back. It's not the fact that they've got adhesive on the back of them. It's because it's blank media. It's blank media. Our stationery is blank media, and that's what I want to talk about in the practical video. Blank media. Now, blank media, once it's printed on, is not blank anymore. If you do maths on stationery, you've created mathematics. If you write on stationery and turn it into educational, or even draw comic strips on it, you've made comic strips. Okay, what about a flick book? You can do that with a flick book. You can make a flick book into like an animation, but it's a series of drawings like comic. Which is art, essentially. Now, the thing with printed images is that those printed images, it doesn't say whether or not they're a notice to the public or advertising something. There's a difference between printed images and adverts. If the image isn't advertising anything, printed pictures, you can have a printed picture which is just not advertising anything. If it is actually advertising something, then surely it's then an advertisement and not just a printed picture. So the stationery is really important. Although you can have paper clips and things like that in stationery, but for example, the post-it notes always come under the stationery section, and they've got sticky on the back. But most of stationery is blank, and it's not educational, philosophical, or religious, or anything like that. It's not got information on it. That's the thing. Textbooks are 0 rated because they've got writing in, and thesis 0 rated. So let's, hold on a second. So I want to continue now with these definitions. Now we've got the handbill. So here, the handbill, a small printed advertisement. Well, why say leaflets? Because leaflets are small printed adverts. Why would you need a separate handbill section? Or notice that is given to people by hand. So you're going to give notice to them about something, but it can include images in it. Handbill, small sheet of paper advertising a product or event which is given to members of the public, especially in the street. Small advertising a product or event. Also, a small printed advertisement or notice. Now this is the 1823 dictionary for petition. In general sense, a request, supplication, or prayer even, a petition. Because after all, when you petition the House of Lords, it would include a small prayer as well. Chiefly appropriate, solemn or formal supplications, prayer addressed to person or God. So you're getting religious here as well. A formal request, supplication, verbal or written. So it can be verbal. A written supplication from an inferior to superior, either to a single person, clothed with power, to legislative or other body, soliciting some favour, grant, right, or mercy. Paper containing a supplication or solicitation, much of the time legislative bodies are consumed in attending to private petitions. To make request, to ask, to solicit. So, we know what a petition means. So if you're asking people to sign it, it's not just an image or artwork. Now here, this is where what is the word handbill? It's a bill that you hold in your hand. And this is actually from 16... I found this in the 1828 dictionary. The 1828 dictionary. In fact... So you can find this online. It's called the American Dictionary of English Language, but it's from 1828. This is the word bill. So a handbill is basically the word for bill, but what you hold in your hand. So firstly, they've got the beak of a fowl, an instrument used by plumbers, basket makers, gardeners. Then we've got a pickaxe. Right, in law, bill for law. In law, a declaration in writing expressing some wrong the complainant has suffered from the defendant or a fault committed by some person against a law. It contains the fact complained of, the damage sustained, and a petition or process against the defendant for redress. It is used both in civil and criminal cases. In Scots law, every summary application in writing by way of petition, not to the Court of Session, called a bill. In law and in commerce in England, an obligation or security given for money under the hand and sometimes the seal of the debtor without a condition or forfeiture for non-payment. In the latter circumstances, it differs from a bond. In the United States, this species of security is usually called a note of hand, or a promissory note. Formal or draft of a law presented to a legislature but not enacted. In some cases, statutes are called bills, but often they are qualified by some description as a bill of tender. A paper written or printed and posted. A paper written or printed and posted in some public place. Right. So for a bill by hand, this is in 4 here. Right. A paper written or printed and posted in some public place advertising the proposed sale of goods or particular things. an advertisement posted. So if you had a small one by hand, they would possibly be giving them out by hand so people can post them, put them up. Posted in public place, which is in the public realm and public domain. Bill, an account of goods sold or delivered, services rendered. Well, when you pay for something, you get the bill, but that's only one version of it. So, any written paper containing a statement of particulars as a bill of charges or expenditures. So, bill, a handbill, one of its primary and main meanings is for petition. It's for a petition to be given out by hand, and not only given out by hand in the meaning for handbill, the handbill surely is to be given out and posted in public, stuck up. So it's to stick it up as well. If you're giving them out by hand to people, it's not only for people to have them, but for other people to put them up as well. And this is why it says in those group 9 items, any goods which are for a political body of people who have come together, which are to further the objectives of that group, which are to further the objectives of that group. Any goods of a political nature which are intended to further the aim of that group. Any person who has subscribed to it. That includes rosettes, badges, and so forth. So it's not limited to handbills, but that's under a different section. You get the V.A.T. exemption not by being in the zero rated section, but by being part of Group 9, which can be any type of goods. Any type of goods, which is to further the objective of the group of people for that political cause. As long as you're either giving them away for free or you get them through a subscription. Well, what I would say is subscription doesn't necessarily mean payment of money to join. When you subscribe, you sign up. If you sign up, you get things. So really, if people sign the petitions, you can give them items for signing, because it's like subscribing. So everyone who signs a petition could be given stickers or rosettes or things. So the meaning of bill, the meaning for the word bill, it means to distribute by hand and also to put up in public, which fits with those Group 9 definition, which really is in that section, which is under this section. But what gets me is, though, the zero rating group, the zero rating section, you can sell those things. In fact, they're for sale. You're buying them and you don't pay tax. You're actually buying them and you're not paying tax on them, right? I even searched up entity, and an entity, it exists apart from other things. So every single human being is their own entity. But sometimes they use the word entity instead of a body. Really a body, well, every single human is an entity, and every body of people itself is also an entity. The whole physical structure that forms a person or animal. Committee serves a group of people who have joined together for a particular reason. Well, that's what it says, a body in that Group 9, a body of people. There is a lot. This is what really, this is where Jim Hara and the revenue and customs. This is like the attitude they've got when they do their pages. Look at this. Cambridge Dictionary, body. Under the word body, a group of people who come together for a particular reason, with a particular objective officially. There is a large body of people who are unaware of their basic rights. Yeah, well, the right to buy things without paying VAT and not having to even be a large company, because if you're a small body of people, you aren't going to be VAT registered. This was the other entry for political in that law to do with electronic services. So